Good evening, Northern Michigan. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us as you're maybe getting your weekend started. Thanks for making us part of that. Cody Bear in for Maya Engel this evening, and also Ethan Foreman joining us today for Unscripted. Now, Ethan, it's pretty hot today. Is it only going to get more hot as our weekend goes on?
Yeah, but thankfully it's only for one day, Cody, as we see highs climbing into the upper 80s to our north, and many of us climbing into the 90s tomorrow. Some of us could even break records, including in Traverse City, and we'll be continuing to monitor that very closely. We also have chances of isolated severe storms for our Saturday as well, and even for tonight, where we could see some large hail and damaging winds. Tonight it's mainly east of I-75. Tomorrow it's west of I-75 and in the eastern upper peninsula. We'll talk about all that coming up in your full forecast.
Thank you, Ethan. As he mentioned, we will check in with him again later on in the show. But for now, we're going to move on to our top story of the day. McLaren Northern Michigan in Petoskey just received funding for a third state-of-the-art lab. The Farmer Family Foundation donated nearly $2 million to make this upgrade a reality. UpNorthLive's Mary Jane Glenn talked with hospital leaders and doctors about what this new lab means to the community.
This funding will allow us to fully renovate and improve our third cardiac cath lab, allowing us to expand cardiac coverage and enhance the care for the 22 counties that we serve.
Atchison says the need for cath labs comes down to having enough space for patients and allowing the surgeons to perform more advanced procedures with updated technology.
Allowed us to add a fourth interventional cardiologist, Dr. Ryan Burr, who started with us this week. This will allow us to strengthen our 24/7 response for the region when it comes to emergent cardiac cath care.
We're told last year around 3,000 procedures were done in McLaren's cath labs. With this new lab and Dr. Burr, the hospital hopes to double the numbers of procedures.
We're dealing with patients coming in with heart attacks, patients coming in with acute situations. So you have to understand that if you don't have the space to deal with those acute situations, you're really deferring a lot of care to other facilities. And to be honest with you, we're the only capable facility for these kinds of emergencies within about a 70-mile radius. So if you have a complicated situation that you don't have space or time or resources to take care of here, you're sending someone more than 70 miles away.
In Petoskey, Mary Jane Glenn, UpNorthLive News.
And keeping things in Petoskey for a second here, the Salvation Army in Petoskey is helping you this upcoming school year. Stuff the Bus is a campaign to collect school supplies for children from low-income families. The Salvation Army is partnering with the Walmart in Petoskey for this campaign. Donations from Stuff the Bus are distributed during the Salvation Army backpack giveaway to schools across Emmett, Charlevoix, and Antrim counties on August 23rd. Staff say they may see an increase in need this year with the rise of inflation. So to talk a little bit more about this, with all about the Stuff the Bus program and what's coming up, let's bring in Amy Evans with Salvation Army of Petoskey. Amy, thank you so much for joining us this evening on your Friday.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, right at the end, I talked a little bit about, the need. Can you tell us more about this need for school supplies, especially right now?
Absolutely. There's a need every year, and it's been growing over the last couple of years. There's more and more children that just are struggling to get by, the families are, and, it's hard for them to go to school if they don't have the same things that their classmates do to start them out for a successful school year. So we collect the school supplies for them, and we do a backpack bash giveaway for them so they can come and get prepared for school. And then any leftover supplies we distribute to a couple of different school districts each year. We rotate them so it's not always the same one, so it's fair.
Yeah, sure. And can you tell us a little bit about this, Stuff the Bus? We saw some of the video, a literal bus, that kind of thing.
Well, actually, we have receptacles that have little bus signs on them at the Walmart in Petoskey on both of the checkout sides. And also you can go into the Walmart registry for good and look up the Salvation Army, and there is an online registry, so you don't even have to go to the store if you don't want to. You can shop online, and you can find that information and all of this information on our website, which is sapetoskey.org. And we have the backpack bash coming up on August 23rd, and that's a Saturday, and it's from noon to 4. So any needy kids that, any families that are struggling, please come out and, get some things for your children so they'll have a good, school year start. And the Stuff the Bus goes until the 17th, which is a week from Sunday. And we are still collecting supplies, though, until that following Monday, the 18th. And you can always drop them off at the Salvation Army directly. You don't necessarily have to purchase the supplies at Walmart, although, they make it really easy for you because they have the big checkout area with all the supplies right there. And then you can just drop them in the big boxes, and you can't miss them because they have the big bus sign on top.
Yeah, and you mentioned the backpack giveaway, and that's, correct me if I'm wrong, is that, the kind of finale of this Stuff the Bus? And can you tell me about what that day is going to look like?
Well, we're going to have some food and some games and some prizes, and we're just going to have a good time. So, families can come out with their kids and enjoy and, get the things that they need. We're collecting the supplies K through 12. So any age group that's in school will be supplied. And I would say the biggest need, aside from just your basics, would be sturdy backpacks. A lot of times we get backpacks that, maybe small that, might be okay for a preschooler, but, the kids today, they've got a pretty big load when they're carrying their books and everything. So they really need those sturdy backpacks so they're not looking for another one in another month because the strap broke.
Yeah, sure. And I know, when you look at the schools across Emmett, Charlevoix, and Antrim counties, so what's the importance of getting this wide range instead of just focusing on one county at a time?
The need is everywhere. I can't stress that enough. And there's just as much need in Antrim County as there is in Emmett, obviously, and sometimes more. We've been seeing numbers increase just as far as financial assistance goes. Last late fall through late spring, when we typically see a drop off a little bit sooner, the funding that we would have had until the fall was gone by the end of February for some of the programs. And we spent between the money we put in, which was close to $470,000, and the leveraged, which was another 16, we spent $486,000 back into the community just for financial assistance for emergency needs like utilities and rent and things like that. And this doesn't include all the meals and again, the supplies for the children and Christmas and all the other things that we do. So a lot of people aren't quite sure all the things that the Salvation Army does, but so I encourage you please to go to our website, sapetoskey.org, and take a look at all the things that are going on.
Yeah, and there is that need, and on the other side, there's people working to help meet that need. How great is it for you guys, one, being able to help yourselves, but also seeing the community come and help donate as well?
We live in such a great community, and anytime anything happens, they are there for the people here. The ice storm or other emergencies, there's always someone there to help. And so I really appreciate the outpouring of, caring and compassion in our community. But actually, currently our donations are down a bit, and they are across the board, across the country, and other different giving fields. And that's just the way things are right now, I believe, with the uncertainty of what's happening in our country and the inflation rates.
Yeah, and if people are just joining us now, before I let you go, if someone's just joining now, how can you donate?
You can go to our website, sapetoskey.org, or you can mail a check to our Salvation Army Community Center, which is located at 2350 Mitchell Park Drive in Petoskey. But all that information, again, is on that website. And you're also welcome to call our main office, 231-347-3531.
Thanks so much for joining us and spending some time on your Friday, Amy. That was Amy Evans with Salvation Army of Petoskey talking about the Stuff the Bus program. Now, graduations for most northern Michigan schools take place in May or June, but for one school, they held theirs today. An unusual date, perhaps, for an unusual school. 24 graduates, but 2 of them found more than careers over the past 12 months of training. Mark Gillette has that story.
It's just a really good, warm feeling to see this culminate on a day like today.
Graduation ceremonies have a lot of the same things. Names being called,
Angelo Daniel Allen.
a stack of diplomas,
Me, Robert Crawford.
proud families watching, handshakes on a stage.
Just seeing their transformation makes all the hard work worthwhile.
But this isn't your typical graduation because Legacy Aviation in Traverse City isn't your typical school.
We're teaching them a mechanical skill set, but we're teaching them life skills as well. And they're going to use this skill set to get a high-paying job and build a life that they want.
For the past 12 months, these 24 graduates have put in long hours to take the first steps in becoming aviation mechanics.
All of our students have multiple job offers. Everybody's come calling, asking them. We got 3 employers here today trying to recruit these students. And they're their own heroes, and they have worked really hard for this opportunity. It's a life-changing opportunity.
Life-changing for all of them, but while each of them found a career, 2 of them found a little bit more than that.
We saw each other on the first day when they were in processing us. Didn't really talk to each other much for the first week.
Because you see, Alex and Autumn here came here on a mission.
We were both just trying to focus on school and get our work done.
But somehow, surrounded by airplane engines, love was in the air.
It wasn't on the radar at all. In fact, I went in with the mentality of I'm here to do a job and focus on my schoolwork.
A class-wide invitation by Autumn to go tubing turned unexpectedly into a date of sorts.
Nobody accepts it or replies, but I did. And I was like, yeah, I would love to go river tubing.
Since we hadn't really been talking, I don't really know this guy, and I did actually almost cancel on him.
But she decided to go anyway.
That was, I think, the best decision that I've ever made.
Long days studying, learning, and mastering the mechanics.
12-hour days every single day, Monday through Friday.
Along the way, careers and love taking flight.
We've worked together a lot on projects in the school, and we have made an absolutely amazing team.
And not just while working on engines.
Got down on one knee and proposed to her.
Each of the graduates walking across the stage today has a brighter future, a career that literally can take them anywhere they choose to go next. None of them may have known how much work it would take to get to today, but 2 of them never could have imagined how much it would pay off.
This was very out of left field.
Love finds a way, right?
Always.
Thanks to our Mark Gillette for that story, which takes us to our first break of the show. But when we get back, we'll check on that weekend forecast with Ethan Foreman. Keep it here.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Well, if you have plans for the weekend, you might want to bring some water if you're going outside, because Ethan, it's going to be a hot one, right? Just like it is today.
That's right, Cody, and it's not only going to be hot, it's going to be hotter than today.
Yeah.
If you thought today was hot, tomorrow will be even hotter. And we also have severe storm chances. We can see some pretty dark clouds as we look toward Gaylord this evening, where we do have some severe storms east of there that we're watching. 87 degrees with mostly cloudy skies in Gaylord, feeling like 88 though with a west wind at 7 miles per hour. Temperatures, well, the warm spot right now in Traverse City at 92, currently at 89 in Mount Pleasant and Big Rapids, and also 90 up in Boyne Falls, currently 76 though, cooler right along the lake in Drummond Island and in Manistee. And we're continuing to watch a few storms to our east, as well as we see a few storms right now focused to the east of I-75. And as we zoom in closer right now, that's impacting areas including now toward Cackling and in Hill. This is in Ogama and in Oscoda counties now until 7 o'clock, and perhaps even further than that. There is a marginal risk of severe weather we're watching for this evening, where some quarter-size hail or 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible east of I-75. Tomorrow, the threat moves further to the west, where we see a marginal risk of severe weather from a line from about Muskegon and Fremont and White Cloud up toward just west of Alpena and westward. That does include Traverse City and then all of our communities in the eastern Upper Peninsula, and that could bring some damaging winds or 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. As we fast forward on Stormcast now, a few storms could perhaps develop this evening, leading to more isolated severe chances of quarter-size hail or 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That clears out as we head into the overnight hours. Clear skies to start the day on Saturday, but then clouds will filter in, especially after 12 o'clock, as we start to see some showers and storms developing in the Upper Peninsula, especially as you head west of our area toward Marquette, and we'll continue to see those slide further eastward as we head in the overnight hours. By 10:45, a few of those storms could perhaps get into the lower peninsula, but it does look like they are going to fizzle out most likely as we head into Sunday morning. A few showers possible into Sunday afternoon. Rainfall amounts will be highest in the Upper Peninsula, where upwards of half an inch to 3/4 of an inch are possible. And the weekend forecast, high of 87 to 95 tomorrow with isolated storms to the north, hot and humid, upper 80s possible on Sunday as well. Low 70s to the north tonight, a very warm night, upper 60s for Grayling and Mayo, low 70s for Atlanta, further to the west, mid 70s in Traverse City and Benzonia, as well as Frankfort, low 70s in White Cloud and Baldwin, and upper 60s in Clare and Mount Pleasant. For tomorrow, upper 80s to the north, and then in the lower peninsula, low 90s for most. That continues to the west as well. In fact, I think this is a little underdone for Traverse City. I think we'll get closer to 94 or 95, low 90s to the south. And that extended forecast shows storm chances continue through Monday. We get a break Tuesday, and then more shower and storm chances Wednesday through Friday of next week. So we'll continue to watch that carefully as we head into the upcoming weekend.
Yeah, and you saw that 95 on the screen. So it kind of got us thinking, you know, how much more of this heat would we like there to be? And our question of the day has to do with the heat, which is, would you rather have 4 more weeks of summer or an early fall? And you are able to vote if you'd like to on what you'd rather have. Currently, our vote on our poll is 56% saying they'd rather have 4 more weeks of summer. 44% would rather have an early fall. You can still vote. You can vote on our website, UpNorthLive.com, or our Up North Live Facebook page or app. All right, we're going to take well, actually, while we have you, before we take a break, Ethan, what would you rather have? Would you rather have 4 more weeks of summer, or would you rather just go ahead and let's have the fall get here?
Well, it depends, because I was in Sioux City, Iowa before I came here, and if I was out there, I would absolutely say an early fall. But kind of change of plans here with all the beautiful lakes. I'd say 4 more weeks of summer now that I'm up here. 95 is pushing it, though. I'd rather stick with those 80s and maybe some upper 70s and less humidity. The humidity could go away for sure.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm a big fall guy just in general. I like some of the, you know, I like the fashion that comes out with fall, and I prefer a little cooler temperatures. But we'll check back in later on in the show. So again, you can vote if you'd like to join the conversation. And again, we'll look at it as we wrap up the show today. We're going to take another break, but we're going to take another break when we get back. That is, we're going to talk to a couple Pit Spitters players before the playoffs come up. Stay with us. The Traverse City Pittsbitters have just a few games left to go this regular season with the Northwoods League playoffs next week. The group is coming off a very successful season individually and as a team as they look to cap it off with a championship. That's players like Cole Prout and Elliot Traver motivated to win for Northern Michigan.
You guys have a whole roster that's been pretty stat stuffing this year. What is that like to be on a team that's that accomplished?
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, it's a long summer. You play every day and stuff, and to have guys day in and day out putting up good numbers, good stats and stuff, and doing the right things. It's really fun and it makes it exciting to come to the ballpark every day. And not just that, they're just good guys to be around too. So it's really easy to root for them as well.
I'm pretty comfortable that you guys will have home field advantage at least for the first round of the postseason, and who knows, maybe beyond that. What does that mean to you to know that some key games could be held right here?
It's huge. I think Traverse City, I think, is the best place to be at during the summer in the whole country for summer ball, and especially being up here. 3 years, I love it up here and stuff, and to be playing in front of these fans, and not only that, but to stay at home, sleep in our own beds and stuff, not have to be on the road. That's huge for us, because 72 games and however many days, it's a lot of wear and tear on your body, and for us to be at home, less travel and stuff, give us an edge to, come out and play a little bit better than the other guys, and have that home field advantage. It's huge. It really is in a broad aspect towards the end of the year too. So
your roster should be pretty much intact for the playoffs, which for the Northwoods League is kind of surreal. Usually you have a bunch of those guys that are unfortunately having to go early. So to know you're gonna have a pretty full roster going into the postseason, that's got to get things pretty amped up as well. The team that's been so dominant in the regular season is going to be there for that final week.
I think the guys are pretty chirped up about it, pretty excited, pretty close-knit team. I mean, being here for only a little bit over a month, I'm pretty close with all the guys, hanging out with them outside of the ballpark and getting to know them other than baseball players. So I think it's a good team to go into the postseason with. Coach T likes to say there's magic here at Turtle Creek Field, and you kind of got to believe it, with all the walk-offs and the extra inning games we've won here. It would be pretty exciting to play home. I think it'd be a very good advantage with the crowd we pull and everybody that's dedicated to winning the game here.
Thanks to Sports Director Harrison Beebe for that report, which takes us to our final break of the show. But when we get back, we'll take one final look at our question of the day. We'll be right back.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
As we brace for some people seeing 90-degree temperatures this weekend, our question of the day was, Would you rather have 4 more weeks of summer or an early fall? 55% of people saying more summer, 45% of people early fall. And some of our Facebook comments, Patricia said more summer than a beautiful fall can extend into winter. While we are at it, spring can come early. Fair enough with the warm temperatures. Amy said early fall, like now, please. And I totally get that. I lean a little bit on let's go ahead and get the early fall, temperatures cool off, get some nice warm coffee in us, and I love wearing some jackets. So I'm on the early fall team just by a little though. I'm happy with whatever we get. Thanks for voting, and thank you for joining us for Unscripted. Have a great weekend, Northern Michigan.